Hi. Hello. Hold on. My YouTube music is not playing. There we go. You. Okay, so why new canvas? Because you guys are gonna help me do 5.0 debut prep. 今日はね、ちょっと来年のなんと、新しいモデルとデビューの準備、宿題をやらなきゃ。Thank you. But yeah. Oh, but 私はダメ人間。What do you mean you are ダメ人間? Hold on. Let me just do a little bit of things because suddenly when I started streaming, I got a notification that I need to do other things and I'm like, why? Why must I do other things when I already said no? You know? Okay. Okay, so hold on. Let me double check. Jimmy, what the fuck are you doing? And where's my notifications? My alert box, is it dead? It is dead. Chat. Chat. Ah, what do you mean? Oh, okay. Workge. Alert box is also dominating. Yeah, the alert box is dead for some reason. I'm refreshy, but I don't know what happened. Did I post on Twitter that I'm streaming it? I did. But anyways, I asked advice from Ali yesterday. 昨日はね、オリちゃんと相談してた。Cause there it is! It appeared! What the fuck? Hey, how come the... Huh? That appeared, but what about the other one, man? Okay, anyways, I was asking Ollie about like what things I should put in a debut slide because did you guys know when I debuted back then in 2020, the term debut slides never existed for me. Did you guys know that? The term debut slides never ever existed for me, Chad. 最初、デビューした時はデビュースライドはなかった。マジでなかったから、今日は初めてのデビュースライド。Are you gonna debut on YouTube too? I guess I'll stream it there if I can, but we don't know about that. Oh my god, thank you so much. You guys are giving gift community subs. Thank you so much. ありがとうね。ギフト。I mean, you just kind of did if you wanted to. Not really. It's more like back then I never knew. Ah! Kumo-san! Hello, I'm new. I commented on your Soul Praise commentator. Thank you so much! I didn't think that a lot of the people who was listening to my Soul Praise cover was actually from Spotify and not from the YouTube end, which is was fascinating. Thank you so much for listening! ソースレイズのなんかカバーをしてて、大体のみんなは Spotify の方からなんかあったらしいんだけど、 YouTube の方じゃなかった。They just pop out of nowhere with a debut. Yeah, I had like a debut, what do you call it? I had a debut video, like introduction video, but had no slides. And I sound like a sad girl who doesn't know what to do. Anyways, how the fuck do I make introductions? Oh, okay, you know what? Let's start. Yeah, it's white. I'm off to a great start, guys. Introduction. What is this font? 君もちょっと待って、このフォントがめっちゃ変。このフォント好きじゃない。Show dash name. Woo! I haven't done this in a while. The last time I did this was like what? Ages ago. I feel like I did this ages ago. Aha. There we go. Oh god, that font. Make it professional. Introduction, boyfriend, girlfriend, applications. We have introduction. Okay, so. We're off to a great start, guys. We're off to a fantastic start. 今の段階めっちゃいいね。これがいいかな。Name. It's white again. Relation. What? Wait, you want me to put relationship status? No la. No need to put that. Just steal the FF14 font. Oh, I would, but no la. It's okay la. It's okay. Don't cry yet. We've just started. I know. I'm doing my bestest. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait. Wait, huh? So. And then. Hold on. Why am I getting orders for the bakery at this hour? Go in. Sorry, like I thought I was like I could not like just not look at work stuff, and then suddenly there is bakery no chumon ga kita. You will get work to Thanks, Jimmy, for giving us up to Akane. Welcome back to the regulars, and also if you are a subscriber, it means you're a regular. But if you're a regular and you're also on Discord, you can also adopt the tag Aibo, which means you guys are my partner now. My partner in crime. Name, Ray Lavere. We're getting there, guys. I'm gonna put the other ones too. This thing. Oh my god, it doesn't work chat because this font is not for Japanese. No, wait. Yay! I got it. Font too small. No, it's okay. It's because right now we're trying to fill in everything. Hold on. I'll make it bigger for you guys so we can look at it. ちょっとね、配信の方がちっちゃいんだけど、待って。はいや。Hold. Okay. Is this better to see? Don't worry, this is not the final. Or just I know, what did you just give me? I'm still rich now, but not for tomorrow. Wait, what do you mean? It's better. Yeah, I'm just trying to like write things down. It's really big on my screen though, so don't worry. Okay, wait, like honestly, later on it's gonna be like this, you know, like ちょっと待って。なんか配信の時はこれぐらいの大きさ。配信の時はこれぐらいの大きさなんだけど、これでいいんかな？ Should I just do this then? これでいい？ But I have to move you guys. I have to move chat. Hold on. ちょっと移動する。さらばちょっと待って。チャッ としたん。ちょっと上ここに。お、ここです。ここ Where do you want to be, chat? We're blocking the way. Chat. Do you want to be here? Do you want to be here, chat? Or do you want to stay here? I think chat should just stay down here. I think this is okay, ah. So that's your forehead. Here. I feel like that's blocky. What if I just put you guys... No. Can we be able to... Okay! Wait. I think... we can... Okay, I'll put you guys here. Aha! That means I could... Wait. Totally not distracted. I can eat chat! Yippee! Bye, chat! Oh, wait, I can do this then. Wait, hold on. Hack 2. Y'all gone. Y'all are gone and my chat box just died immediately. The chat box, like, oh man, the chat box died. I'm trying to refresh it. Please. Well, you guys are gone. Karma? Well. Oh, you guys are back! No, after that. Anyways, look, guys, I have a kanji that I wanted to show you guys, but like I am supposed to put this in a different thing. Because I want to explain like what the kanji is. Because I finally decided to put a kanji on my name. Well, at least just in case. So I feel like if I do like signatures later on, or anything that requires like fast signing, I'll just have to remember this. Like it'll be like a short sign. And then I wanna like explain that this and this. Okay. Cooking. Absolutely cooking. I am so good at this. I like Ray's a lot faster than trying to Oh, the kanji is still Ray. Oh, by the way, the kanji is literally just Ray. These two kanji just means Ray. That's it. It's just Ray. So it's not even a different thing. It's just Ray. It looks difficult, but it's actually just Ray. Hold on. I come in and immediately get spit on peak stream. We're even trying to get a signature, but the person in question doesn't know how to signature either. I'm just trying to like explain the best way in like in English. Because the back one is basically color. Back one is color, guys. Back one is color. Also, let me forward this to... Basically, this on its own is sai. I should not write in Japanese. But basically, sai means color. I should put that this is sai, which means color. And then this one is basically re. Or like Ray is okay, but like it's already Ray. The reason why I put these two together is because I want it to be like Ray, and then this is the E, you know? But it's supposed to be Ray. And this is supposed to be like the nuance is kind of like, okay, there's nuances of like, it's basically like something that's always like moving, like a flow. It's like flow. It's like flow, chat. Yeah, it's like flow. It's kind of like, the nuance is kind of like water. Like the actual thing is like waterway. This is like color. So I thought that would be cute if the overall name is low-key like someone who follows. Wait, she follows her own path and colors the world. Something like that. Colors the world, or kind of like, or her path with her own colors. Kind of like that. Yeah. Something like that. That's what I wanted. Like it took me a while. So this is an unconventional name that people wouldn't have normally. But it's basically usable in maybe like novels, but not really in like normal names. That's why. Yeah. この名前はちゃんとつけたんですけど、こういう感じでレイと言いますが、こういうなんか英語でこういう意味が分かってるんだけど、普通の名前じゃないからなんか面白いと思う。I wanted to have color in my name. Like having color in my name is such a pretty thing, right? Like I feel like if I didn't have color in my name, I would be so sad. You know? Because I feel like color is such a me thing. I feel like color is nice. Without color, I said, なんか色がないと悲しい。色が大好き。I love colors. Colors is nice. What font was this? OCR. 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 Yu Mincho. OCR. OCR. M N O. Where is OCR? I'm trying to find this font that I was using. O. There we go. OCR. Where is OCR again? Damn, finding this thing is hard. Yeah. You have Aoi color too, name is magic. Yeah, that's why. Oh yeah, you get to know my hex code soon because I was talking with Ori ちゃんと話した時は、なんか自分の色、メイン色とサブ色がなんかあったらいい。だからヘクスコードを後でつける。I will put my hex code. I've never done that. I'm like, oh my god, I've never had a hex code properly. Wowee! 初めてだよ。ヘクスコードのこと。最初デビューした時はそういうことはないよ。That was not it doesn't exist. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do my bestest. But yeah, anyways, if you don't like the kanji, because that's just for me, I will put it as just Rei. I forgot. I can't. Where's my pretty kanji? Wait, it's OCR. No, it's not OCR. It's the bottom one. Oh. Aha. Hey. We. Did I type it correctly? I have no idea because God forbids. No, it didn't. Wait. B. E. Ah, there we go. Is it? No. Is it? No. We're gonna keep it like this. No. We're gonna keep it like this because I'm a gaijin. Yes, usually you put your family name in the front, but this is all my name. And because I am, what's it called? Because I am gaijin, 日本人じゃないからこういう設定で選べる。Why follow the rules when I'm already breaking the rules? But if you put a dot instead of space, it's correct. Aha! Smart you are. Then we shall put L dot. この Yay! Something like that. Okay, we've only done this one so far, guys. We're doing great. これだけが作った。待って。は。PPT. Oh, what's next? My height. That's not it. Height. 165 cm slash 5. Is it 5 foot 41 inch? Is that American? Is this your hex code? I don't know. I haven't decided my hex code. Nope. Is it 5'4"? So is it like that? Should I just write this then? 41 is like 8 foot. So wait, what is it then? Is it just 5'4"? And then what is it then? If the 5 is foot, then what's the 4? 1 feet is 12 inch. Just 5'4"? Oh, you Americans are weird. You Americans are weird. What the fuck are you on about, man? You guys are so weird. Hey, everyone in this entire world uses centimeters and you guys don't decide to use centimeters? That's amazing. You should. The metric system is amazing. We use real numbers. But what do you mean 1 foot is 12 inch? Whose foot? Whose foot are we using, Chad? Whose foot? You guys are tripping. You guys are absolutely tripping. Since you cannot say you're a guy to emphasize, hey, I will keep roasting America until they lower their rates. アメリカ人のことはいつもそういうことをするだから、早くなんか、currency のことを直してほしい。What the fuck is a kilometer? 1,000 in a different metrics. And then, you know, it's so nice because it's just a stairs, you know? Metric system is just a stair. If it's 1 kilo, how many? If 1 kilometer, then how many meter? 1,000. If it's 3,000 meter, how many kilo? Yeah, 3. Delete 3 zeros. So simple. I would like to propose favorite proposition to be put. I don't even have that. I'm not that smart. Birthday. Oh wait. I need to write thing in Japanese as well. 後でする。後で日本語もちゃんとするから。誕生日。は。Also known as what was it called in Japan? The bean day thief. Basically, I'm at the same birthday of like Setsubun. Setsubun to isho. It's the same with Setsubun, which is bean throwing festival. I got thrown beans. Basically, on my birthday, you throw me beans so that the demons in me come out. And I can only have angels and God within me. You know, it's a funny thing. I didn't know that I was born at Setsubun according to Japan. It's funny. Basically, this is why I'm a Christian girl, guys. I get thrown beans on my birthday, and then I only have God within me. なんかね、誕生日は節分と一緒だけど、なんかいつもなんか豆をなんか鬼に殴るでしょ。けどそういう意味でなんか自分はキリスト教だからそういう設定するなら神だけが残っている悪魔や鬼はないな感じかな。Yeah, that's it. Throw beans, redeem for your debut. I'll figure out how to do it. Okay. Throw coffee bean at her? Wow. That's expensive. You really want to do that? That's so expensive though. Ray, you still have... Can I not do that? I can't put 5 the 4-1? Like, or is it 4.1? Can I not do that? You guys are so weird. Like in metrics, I could just put like extra numbers. Like if it's 6, like if my height is 159.5, then I could just do 0.5. It's 5'4". Why can't I put the 1? Wait, are you telling me you guys will never have an accurate, like, never have an accurate height because... Then can I do this then? Can I do that? No? 5.4.1. Can I do that? We have the best. Yeah, look, 165 cm. Yeah, but it's just like 2 cm. Hey, 2 cm matters. 2 cm matters. That's my height. If I only wrote 5'4", that means I'm 163 cm. You know? What the? Okay, that's really bad. Nanka. Like. Okay, with this font, it looks rancid as hell. Nah, the correct thing would be 5'4.1". See, I feel like the point, you know, just write 5'5". What did I be that? That's too tall. I want to be true to the metric system coded, by the way. 0.1 inch is 2.4. What? You guys are okay. You know what? No. Is it Imperial? No Imperial for you. Metric is king. No Imperial for you. Metric is king. Shh. No one saw that. No one saw that. No one absolutely did not see that. Yes, down with the Imperial! Oh, wait, that sounds fun! Wait, no Imperial for you. Down with the Imperial. Down with the Imperial! Anyways, I'll just put that there for now. I love instigating drama. This is the only drama I'll make. If everyone's making like big ass drama on Twitter, my drama is down with the Imperial system. Now this is the hate I can be proud of. I'm petty, guys. I fucking hate it. It's so inconvenient. Like, ugh. Nice gallon jug you have in your house, by the way. What do you mean gallon jug? Gallon jug? What do you mean gallon jug? Liters. You don't call it gallons. Gallons? No la. We call it a gallon for the shape, not for the amount. You think it's for the amount? No, it's just the shape of that thing. Yeah, right. 165 is actually 64.96 inches, which would make you 54.96, practically 5'5". I'm 5'5". No, still down with the Imperials. Down with the Imperials. We're going great. Oh yeah, debut. Oh shit, that's not there. Debut date. May. Wait. May. Yeah. Are you sound like you're from the Bakumatsu era? What is the Bakumatsu era? What is that? What's the Bakumatsu era? Wait, what is this? No, it's okay, it's okay. I'm doing this for the English people. Later on, I will do it in Japanese with the correct thing. Don't worry. I'm still okay with this because I grew up with it, but down with the imperial system, but this is still negligible. Yes, the correct thing is this. Oh, okay. Here's where I have a problem. If I put it like this, I don't mind. But if you tell me to do if you ask me to do this, I hate it. No, we don't do that. This is morally correct. If it's all numbers, this is morally correct. But if I have the... This is okay. If it has like the entire thing, this is okay. You're bad with numbers, opinion discarded. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You know what? Out of spite, I'ma just do that. Huh. I don't care. I'll do this. Fuck yo. Fuck month day. 3rd of February. I'm here to gaslight. Debut date. And then language, right? Ollie said to put languages because languages is not a common thing. Really, it's not common. TP2. There it is. Language. English. Indonesian. Japanese. Michi. Oh god. It's the font again. Hold on, guys. The font is gone. Damn, this font is killing me. Mama. That one doesn't exist. This. There we go. Nichijou Kaiwa. Oh, Vex next. Apparently, okay, I need to teach you guys something that I learned in 2020. You cannot say Japanese as Jap because apparently it's a bad slur used in derogatory terms out in, I think, America. Yeah. So, fun fact for you guys, in Indonesia, we don't have that. Yeah. We don't have that basically. Basically, we don't have that in Indonesia because usually we would just like abbreviate the first 3 words. So English to Ing. Indo would be like Indo still, but like in Indonesia we would say Jap as in like, oh, just because we want to say Japanese, but we just put like 3 letters. But apparently out out there somewhere, someone decided to use the word Jap as like a bad thing. So we are learning that. I learned in 2020 because I had mutuals who were Japanese American that you must never say Jap, but you can say JP. You can say JP. I thought it was bad. No, it's okay. I just don't want Twitch to like do the T. What does that mean? Well, basically, it was like a slur. Basically, back then in America, it's like bad. They basically use it as a derogatory term, you know. I didn't think. Yeah, Twitch actually blocks it. That's the thing. Twitch actually blocks the thing. It automods it. Yeah. Yeah. So they used it as a derogatory term back then for people from Japan that went to America back then, like, you know, to find a better life and stuff. So that's why you never say Jap. Say as JP. JP is okay, or just for Japan, Japanese, or Nihongo. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't wanna step on anyone's toes. I don't wanna step on anyone's toes, and I do have like several mutuals that are from America, so I really don't wanna like cross that mark, you know? I don't wanna go to that line. Oh shit. Ooh. Buh. Thank you. Welcome in. But yeah, the more you learn, guys, there's a lot of things that people can say to be harmful, but I don't want it to be that. Oshimark! That's crazy. Oh my god, I never thought of Oshimark back then. You know, guys, I never had an Oshimark back then until someone told me that I needed an Oshimark. I didn't know there was a thing called Oshimark. Oshimark is... The thing is, I don't know if I can put my... I think it has to be a picture, right? Emoji. You had a lemon and... Oh yeah, I added that afterwards, but I didn't know in the beginning. Yeah, hold on. I need to find the thingy, so... Beep. I think it has to be a picture, though. I don't think I can give, like... Unless... Let me try to find it. I wonder if there's a font that lets me put Oshimark. なんかフォント的には推しマークが映ってるものあるかな? I actually don't know. Hold on. So I have 2 Oshimarks that I don't know if I could like... I don't know if I could actually showcase here because it's not a font. See? This thingy. I don't know. Oh, maybe this. Oh. It doesn't show. It doesn't show. It doesn't show, guys. What do I do? Okay, hold on. This means... Draw your Oshimark here later, Ray. Thanks. Okay. I'll just put that as a like, draw your Oshimark here later, thanks. Okay. Note this up. Wait, let me make it blue. There we go. That's good enough for now. But it's basically a purple flower and lightning. Yeah. Oh shit, right, hex code. It's time to figure out my hex code. Chat, it's time to figure out my hex code. My Oshi color. Damn. Oshi colors. Oshi. Ah! You saw nothing. Oshi color. Baby blue. I don't know. I'm still trying to hex code. Okay. I need a main color. Okay, it might be this. This is main color. Main color. Wait. Ah. Your hex code is not the one on your ref sheet? Well, did I put a hex code there? I don't think I did. I just put like random colors of everything, right? Yes, I was about to press tab, but because this is not Photoshop, it didn't want to do it. It didn't want to register the tab thingy, so it's okay. But I don't know. I feel like Oshi color is like the color I want to be associated with, right? Because like reference sheet colors are basically everything that my model has and basically what I have. But it doesn't mean that it's like a representation color, if that makes sense. It's different. So I'm still thinking. Yeah. Color to... Yeah, I will. But like, that's why... So everything you see... Okay, I'll put up my ref sheet here. Hold on. So you guys can have like a vision. Oh shit. So these are all colors that my model has. This is basically for art. It's not like an Oshi color. It's different. See? These are all different. These are all different colors. This is just what my model has. That's why I'm thinking like, should it be that or should I take like a more like electric blue? I might take more of an electric blue though, I feel. Okay. It's between this or this. Okay, hold on. There we go. Hold on, this you guys can't see it, but it's between main color is between a pastel blue or electric blue. Oh, please be careful. Okay. My subcolor. Now here's the hard part. Is my subcolor purple or should it be yellow? Pastel is up my alley, but I think electric is more you. Yeah, that's why I had to think. Okay, let me wait. Poll. Let me make a poll. Is Ray pastel baby blue, electric blue? There we go. So now my subcolor, I don't know if I should put it as purple, like very subtle purple, or yellow instead. I need to look up the color first. Yes. Hold on. Can you put the two colors? Hold on. Wait, I got this. Give me a moment. Let me put the colors on screen. Hold. Pause. Chat. Hold on. How do I write the hex colors here? Give me a moment. I am very slow on the computer. C2D 3FF. Why is it not letting me? The fuck? Let me pick the color. Jesus. C2D 3FF. Where's my thingy? This one. It won't take that fine. Really? You won't color drop outside of Clip Studio? That sucks ass. Change the fonts. It's more like I'm trying to, but it won't color pick. And in the computer one, it's so bad. Is that it? Hold on. Let me try. So difficult. Is it this one? No, this one doesn't work either. Wow, this is so bad. Their color thing is shit. It's so shit. Like, why would you do it? Can you access and import the image as reference? Okay, wait. I might be able to do the RGB. Hold on. There we go. Wait, hold on. And okay. Hold on. I got the color for the first one. Okay. Let me get the other one. 2E 3 2E 2E 2E. Oh wait, never mind. Not that blue. Changing colors, chat. Changing colors. Not this color. A little bit too bright. I think I just need it a little bit darker. Where is that? Not that one. I'm so slow with the computer now that I realize it, because I usually draw everything. So when you tell me to like not draw it, when I have to type it out, I'm so slow. And then I'm supposed to get the RGB of this. Hold on. I did it! That took everything from me. Oh wait, I forgot. Hold. Hold on. Ah! Okay, I'm back. First slide. But yeah, those are the two colors that I feel like I wanna do. But I don't know. I feel like I might be more of a pastel baby blue still, because it's my hair color, right? What do you guys think? A1, A2, A... No, that's gray. Why would you take gray as a color? Rerun the poll. Oh, yeah, the poll is rerun. That's gray. Gray is not my color. That's so sad. Like, why would I have... Because gray, not funny. Periwinkle? What? Periwinkle? That should be my subcolor, maybe. The subcolor is probably purple or yellow. But it's not my main color because I'm barely purple. Yeah, I'm barely purple. My eyes are purple, but I'm barely purple. That's why I don't want to use purple as my main, because I feel like if you want to have purple as your main, it's either like Reichi, Muna, or like Michi, you know? But it's not me. Your hair is kind of blue. It is blue. My hair is blue. It's blue. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's more of like the baby blue color. Okay. Okay, let me just... You had 3 purple gal in the Yeah, exactly. It's Saragam SMA kind of blue-gray. Yeah. Okay, subcolored. I think the hard part about subcolor is that I don't know. Also, I feel like I don't want periwinkle. I want lavender because I like lavender. So lavender is my subcolor, I feel. Let me find lavender. Like lavender or lilac is one of them. Because that's the shade of my hair today. Yeah. You know what? Lilac, lavender. Yeah, lavender is nice. But it's too bright, so I might take lilac instead, because that's another color. Okay, wait, hold on. I have, yeah, lilac. Lilac it is. Subcolor. Check this out. Hold on. Actually, don't check this out. Hold on. Try to find a hex code. Hold on. Oh, but I love lavender. No. I love lavender so much, but yeah. Okay, let's grab the lilac color. BA9DD7 to RGB. Okay, I found the RGB value. 186 157. Wait, 186 157 and 215. Oh shit. Yeah. Hold on. Move up. And then there. Yeah, I like lavender color. That is, what was it? BA9DD7. There we go. Yippee! It's colors, chat. Pog. We're still doing the first page, by the way. It took me 1 hour to do the first page. Okay, let me check from my first page slide. Is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, okay. That one, Nepal, okay. Beep. Okay. And then this one. This one. Oh wait, I should save. Did I save already? Oh, I did. Desktop. Yay! How many pages are you planning? Intro. If I have lore, but I don't really have lore. Model breakdown page. Likes and interests, hobbies, dislikes, my content, goals, trivia hashtag, credits. That's a lot. It's a lot. Anyways, let me put this into a folder. This is our first page. Now, let's go for the Second page. Bye page. Wait, I need to get the introduction thingy. Where was it? I'll copy that. And I'll also get this one. Okay. We're continuing. We're now on page 2. We're now on page 2. Now here's the hard part. I don't have lore. And you know what? That's okay. Wait, I forgot to write on the introduction page that I'm an illustrator. Wait, no, wait, should I put that as my content? Or like, who? Wait. Shit. Wait, where do I put that? Oh, wait. Hold. We're back to the first page. Chat, I'm really sorry, but I think we're going back to the first page. Give me a moment, guys. Oh shit, wrong. I think we're back on the first page. Excuse me. Should I put it on a... Wait... Not the funny music calling me out. Wait. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Oh, no, this. Okay. Okay, we're cooking. Hold on, we're cooking. Okay. Illustrator and hobbyist singer. But should I put that in like my content instead? Actually no, this could be its own page. This could be... Oh, wait, chat, hold on. I think it could be its own page. Hold. Pause. I think it can be its own page. Who... I forgot to say that I'm an elf! I forgot to say I'm an elf on the first page! Wait, we're going back to the first page! We're so cooked! Hold on! Hold on! I'm almost there! I can feel it! First... wait! It's okay, chat. We're all in this together. Wait, do I call it race or species? Race or species? Or species? Race, right? Species? Species. L. Race and species is so different. Oh, yeah, that's why I asked you guys. You guys are the smarter one. I think race is like dark elf. Oh! Dark elf. Oh, hold on. Should I keep this in? Should I keep this in? Photosynthesizing. Oh my god! English! Synthesizing. No, no, cause I've been thinking about it. I'm more alive on sunny days, but when it rains, I die. So I am very like sun attuned instead of rain attuned. With glasses? No, doesn't need. That's not species. That's not species. Photosynthesis. Should I be like sun attuned elf, or should I be like photosynthesizing elf? Or should I just photosynthesizing elf and I'd be like sun attuned? I'll just put sun attuned in the back. We'll figure that out later. Anyways, surely this is enough information. EP. Okay. Who? Second page. Species elf, race, photosynthesizing elf. Oh, wood elf is good enough? That's not fun though. That's not fun though. Wouldn't it be funny just to be like a photosynthesizing elf? Instead of like wood elf? No, I'm not a moon elf. I'm not a moon elf. I'm very sun attuned. Okay, we're at who now? Who? No. My color is not the color of the moon. It's the color of daytime sky. Who? Who are you? Yay! This is my Who Are You page! We're at page 2, chat! Chat! We're at page 2! We're at page 2. Clippy! Ray is. Why is it purple all of a sudden? Ray is. Oh, you want the who part? Oh, wait. Maybe. Wait, you're cooking. Hold on, you're on to something. Oh. Ray is. Wait. I am. Wait, or she is. Should I use she is? Or I am? I am. Oh my god, wait guys. Very important thing to put these days. She, her. I will not elaborate on that context, but anyways, illustrator. I'll just put keywords for illustrator. Singer. And then what else am I? Silly. Comedian? Should I just say silly or comedian? Because I feel comedian I feel like if I say comedian, it makes people feel like I actually can do like stand-up comedy and stuff. But I can't, so maybe just silly. Accidental comedian. Accidental? Hi, hello! Should professional yapper? I don't think a professional. Humorous? Long time. Silly yapper. I'm a silly yapper. Silly yapper. 3 years, yeah. Elves live long lives. That's true. Is that what else do I say about myself? I'm a silly yapper. I'm an illustrator. I'm a singer. Like me personally. Your lore should be you can't do magic. But I had like a fantasy model, so that doesn't align. Hetius? No. I'm bad at math is a fun fact, you know. This is just the general like who am I? Fun fact should be something else, you know. Different. No. It's not likes and dislikes, guys. It's personality. 別だよ。好き嫌いじゃなくて自分の個性です。No, Baker is not my main part of who I am personality wise, because most of my personality is very aligned to how I draw art and how I sing. Baking is different. Eventually learning finance. Philosopher, no. Rigor, no. I can't really. I haven't done life 2D rigor in a while. Like life 2D rigs in a while. Chef, no. No, I'm not a chef. The one who's a chef is Kadna, so I don't think it counts with me. I think that's more than enough. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to put Indonesian in anymore here. I don't want Indonesian to be my personality. I don't want to put Indonesian as my personality. That's something I want to avoid, because I don't want to be known as like, oh, she's an Indonesian VTuber, but it's more like I speak Indonesian and that's it. I don't really want more anymore from it. It doesn't benefit me at all. Foodie works because I do like to yap about food. Oh, food terrorist. That's my personality. Thanks, chat. I just remembered. I'm a food terrorist. 飯テロ最高. Where is my chief of security? I don't think I am, though. Yeah, 飯テロ最高. Maybe not you. Yeah, that's why I put it in Japanese. Japanese, I put 飯テロ. She likes pineapples on pizza? No, I don't. That's not what meshitero is. Meshitero is basically making other people hungry by sharing what you eat. You are a mentor? I should never proclaim myself as a mentor. I feel like that's bad. I don't think I should do that. I don't think I should do that. Anyways, I think for the who page, this is enough. Let's go to page 3. You are? I can't proclaim it though. It's like something, it's like a title that's better said if someone says it about me, not me claiming it. Because once you claim you are a mentor, it goes south afterwards. So I don't want to do that. None at all. Ooh, hobbies. 3rd page. Now we can put hobby. Oh, wait, I need to grab the introduction one. Mentoring. Hi, Tactics. How are you? Wait, let me... Yay! Thank you for dropping by. We're trying to figure out my debut slides. Howdy! Hobbies. Yeah, because I want to I have never made a debut slide for like stuff, so you guys here will get to see the process of how slow I do things. Trying to figure out who she is. Yeah, because I feel like sometimes I don't know actually. Wait. I'm gonna learn about Ray Ray. Yeah! Learning about me. Har har har. Okay. Hobbies. Wait, I forgot to put in the second page. Wait, I forgot to put second page. I just remembered. What is this fish? The typo looks cool. Oh, we're trying to make like a debut slide, but I'm still trying like to put all the information in. Wait. Yeah, sleepy 24/7. Even if I have enough sleep or not enough sleep, I'm always sleepy. Yay! EP forever. Okay, back to this one. Okay, so hobbies. Hobbies. Delulu concepting projects that never comes to light or ends up being in my backlog. It's very specific. Just say you're a dreamer? That sounds so depressing. What do you mean? I feel like it's different from dreaming. No. Dreaming is kind of like... For me, dreaming is different. It's more like this is like, I have this idea, I have the full concept, but like either I have no time or I don't know when to do it. So it's kind of like, I'll put it in my back burner. It's not a dream. Dreams are something that I want it to be a little bit more unattainable. So that would be like dreams and goals. That would be the dreams and goals page, you know? You know, we gotta be specific about this. I like designing characters and clothes. Yeah, designing character and clothes. But dreams aren't meant to be chased? Well, that's sad. I want to chase things. I'll never put dreams then. Fuck dreams. Yeah, Delulu is a want. It's want. I don't want to leave it till just dreams. Drawing. Singing. Traveling. Oh, solo traveling. I like solo traveling a lot. What else do I do? Oh, I'm stupid. Sightseeing? No, sightseeing is different. Sightseeing means like you go to see something. I just like walking around alone. Yapping is not my hobby. Yapping is something that I had to learn. It's not a hobby though. Like the only reason why I stream to you guys is because I had to learn how to yap. It's not my hobby though. Observing? No, observing is like no. Okay, Zaid, I think you're misunderstanding me. I go on a trip without purpose. I just let whatever mood takes me that day. I don't observe shit. I don't plan shit. I go, I vibe. Whatever the wind tells me to do that day. I just like traveling alone. I don't think about it. I don't observe things. I don't like go out to actually observe things. I just go out. I just like traveling on my own. Just, you know, being that protagonist with the music and just going around. I just like traveling to different places. Not observing things on purpose, you know? No. I have ADHD. I will always observe things, like even the smallest details that happen in the street. Like, why would I need to make it my hobby if it's like a natural thing that happens to me? I'm the same thing as is this a butterfly thingy? Like literally that would be me all the time. Sleeping. I do like sleeping a lot though. Sleeping is always nice. Sleeping good. I don't know. Come to Thailand. Oh, sorry, from Thailand. What else do I like? Ah, wait. Oh, okay. Fun fact will be different. Fun fact is different. Spending time with friends. Spending time with friends. That one I like a lot. I think mostly this for now. It's kind of like a short third page. Because the next page will be a bit different. Because next page is like and dislikes, and that's where I'll probably get a little bit wordy. Fourth page. Friends. I like friends. Okay. Likes. Interest? Interest. You like reading books? I used to. I don't think I read as much anymore. Like novels and stuff, because my brain gets too eepy. Overseas friends? I mean, most of my friends are overseas. $1 million? No, that's goal. That's not interest. This is more of like, okay, let me make it games. All right, guys, okay, I'm gonna do this games. Then we move it here. Music. And then oh, food. Is it? Wait, interest should be just food. Games and music, I think. Right. TV shows. Anime? Okay. Likes and dislikes should be in another page. Interest. Yeah, movies and anime, I guess. Hold on. Movies and anime. Okay. Now this is where the fun begins. Games. I have my list. Art, like favorite mediums. I think I could put that in a different page. I don't know. I feel like that's too specific for someone to know. Because general people wouldn't be doing art anyways, so it's not something that people needs to learn. Sadly. Final Fantasy XIV. Wuthering Waves. Story of Seasons. Rune Factory. Tales of series. Animal Crossing. Fields of Mystria. Voltex. Ah! Why? What did I press? Why are you sent it? What did I press? Wait. God, I don't. What did I press? Okay, we're back. Beat Mania. I still like these two games, honestly. Persona. What else did I like? Me trying to remember what I like. Oh yeah, Inazuma. Why did I write that? Inazuma. I feel like game. Okay, and Victory. Okay, to be specific, I'll put it Victory Road, and then I'll put movies and anime to be Inazuma 11. Very specific. Very specific. Oh yeah, Zenless Zone Zero. What else did I like? Fantasy Life? I like it, but it's not to a point where I feel like I would put it in here, I feel. Like, should I? Wuthering Waves? Bro, yeah, I already put Wuthering Waves. I don't know. We'll put it there for now, but... Oh! Oh! What was it? Num 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 Layton. Professor Layton. What other games did I play? Hold on, I need to say this is Persona 3 and Persona, you know, never mind. I like Persona. I like all Persona. I'm just biased to Persona 3. Oh yeah, you're right. Pokemon. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I'm gonna be specific, guys. I'll be like Diamond and Pearl. Hold on, Pokemon. I'm gonna be so specific. Diamond and Pearl. Why not Platinum? Because I like Dialga. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put Pokemon down because I like Dialga a lot. Pokemon Diamond. Pokemon Black, White 1 and 2. My goat right there. Pokemon Black, White 1 and 2. I'm so specific. You can't stop me. Grand Bazaar. I already wrote Story of Seasons. Because I like the general. You play a lot? I do. Well, what was the thing? Oh yeah, Yakuza. Like a Dragon. Dragon series. Dragon Quest? I don't play it! Like a Dragon series. I feel like I'm forgetting something that I really, really liked, but I don't remember. Because I think it might have been a... It might have been like a very... Oh! Pop Cutie. Okay, I'm back. What was it? Style savvy. There we go. This makes more. Oh wait, does it count? Tamagotchi. It counts, right? Chat. Tamagotchi counts as a game, right? Right. It counts. It counts. It counts. You know. It counts. It counts. It counts. Okay. Awesome. 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 Ah! You pressed the wrong button. Well, maybe I should go up like this. Okay. Yay! Yippee! Okay, I need to move it to the side a little bit more. Okay, we are now finally in the music channel. Yay! Music channel chat. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Hold on, let me get the size. Oh shit. Music. Mental. Wait, font too big. Centimillimeter. Wait, why is the font size different again? Wait. Why is the font bigger? No, I want it to be 8. Why is it not 8? The font doesn't want to stay as 8. Come on. Okay. The font keeps changing. Stop it. Why? Why is the font changing all the time? So ass. Font keeps changing. I don't know why. Oh, it's because of it. And now what? I'll just put it. Shoot. I don't want it to be associated. FF14, yeah, I'm gonna write that here. There we go. Final Fantasy. What's up, Primals? Centimillimeter. Fuji Kaze. Nano. Pistons. Plus KMC. Bondi. Yeah, Fear and Loathing. And Las Vegas. God, it's so long. Hold on. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Now I see. Atsushi Kitajo. Lotus Juice. Shoji Meguro. Aikatsu Music. Ichiko Aoba. Otherworld. Monkey. Magic. Is it Monkey Magic? Magic? Like that. Penthouse. And more. I like anything that has meaning and sounds good to me. Very specific. I'm free to a lot of like songs as long as it has meaning. Or it sounds nice to me. It's so specific. Like it's so specific, honestly. Okay. Hold on, let me grab this thingy then. Nazuma 11. Given. No game, no life. Hold on. I'm thinking about the things I've watched in the past. Night. Wait. Area no Kishi. Slam Dunk. Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Bleach. But I feel like Bleach. I used to like Bleach, but now not really. Oh. Roko no Basket. IQ. Was it Stride? Was the anime called Stride? Hold on, I need to double check. Was Prince of Stride and Prince of Tennis. Hold on, let me cook. Prince of Tennis. Prince of Stride. Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles. God, I can't. Chronicles. Old Black Cat. Darker than black. Trash animes? Shut up! No! No, you have to be trash isekai anime. That it has to be specific. Trash isekai anime. You have to call it trash isekai anime. It has to be specific, guys. Hold on. What did I used to watch? So Sao? Yes! Exactly! Sao is my trash isekai anime. For Asuna. Forever. Wait, I just realized you guys can't see it. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Hold on, I'm thinking. Oh, Yaki Tate Japan. What else did I watch back then that I... Oh! Rurouni Kenji... God, I can't. It's so laggy. Rurouni Kenshin. Medalist? Yeah, Medalist is banger. It's new, but it's so good. Medalist is good. Medalist. Yeah, Nurari Hyun no Mago is great. Nurari Hyun no Mago. No Naruto? I'm not exactly the biggest Naruto fan. No Show by Rock anymore? Show by Rock, I like the game more than the anime, for me. But it's not, but because it died so fast, I kind of feel sad. It's kind of like Ed Moore, you know? Tegami Bachi's great. No romance? How do you put Yakitate Japan? I wasn't a card captor girl. I'm thinking. I wasn't a card captor girl, not an Attack on Titan girl, not really a Wotakoi girl, not a Sailor Moon girl as well. I didn't watch Madoka as well. the gray man. Okay. Give me a moment. I need to like push this. The thing is long. Wait, I need to change the thingy down there. Spikes fab? Nope. It's not my thing. I tend to accidentally dodge animes that are mainstream. Just accidentally. I really feel like I accidentally dodge things that I... Soul Eater? I didn't watch Soul Eater. Makoto Shinkai movies? It's fine. Oh my god, you're right! My God, Hunter x Hunter! Ah! My God, Hunter x Hunter! Ghibli's? I do watch Ghibli stuff. Hold on, I have to make this smaller then. I like Howl's Moving Castle the most. Silent Voice, not something I would call my favorite. It's a good movie, but Hellsing, nope. Hold on, let me think. Oh, hold on, I forgot to write. Gurren Lagann. That was great. What did I perish to? Oh! Ayakashi Ayashi. How about movie? V for Vendetta. I think that's like one of my most favorite movies. Oh my god! Hira! Not a single Western. There it is! See, V for Vendetta! It's right there! There, see? That's the Western media. V for Vendetta. Oh, wait! I forgot! Wait! There's one more! Wait! I got this! I got it! Hold on. Okay, I just remembered. Thank you! Thank you, Rin, for reminding me. Brooklyn Nine-Nine! My goat show right there. If I feel depressed with life, I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If I feel vengeful, then I watch V for Vendetta. Did you ever read it? Which one? Physical Asia? Physikaruchi. I mean, that's great, but like, it's not like my most favorite, you know? Like, these are fire. Not even a movie? V for Vendetta is a movie. V for Vendetta is a movie. I don't know what other movies that I've watched that I felt like, oh my god, I really like this. Like, sorry to... I do have a movie! Conan! X! Kaito Kid! Singapore Arc! Blue Diamond! That one. That's a movie. It's Conan, Kaito, Singapore Arc, the Blue Diamond. That one. What I've learned is that Ray doesn't like romance. It's more of like I've watched so many romances that I'm kind of like over with it. I think the most that I did like was the Yamada-kun level 999. That one was nice. But the only romance here that actually low-key is BL is Given. Like that's angst romance right there, you know? Negima? No. But you have no favorites from it? Favorites? Hold on. I need to... Let me try to see what is my favorite romance anime. Oh! Wait, hold on. Yeah, so it's either... Yamada-kun 999, that's great. The thing is, I don't want to put Nana because that gives me PTSD. We don't talk about Nana. Okay, hear me out. We don't talk about Nana because Nana literally gives me PTSD. So we don't talk about Nana at all. Absolutely zero talk about Nana because that is just PTSD. Hold on. Okay, fine. I'll put some romance in. I have some. Okay. Sign of affection. That one I think still left a very, 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 very good impression to me. And then the hold on. And then the Yamada Kun 999 thingy. That was great. Oh, I just remembered. Sugar, apple, fairy. Sugar, apple. I can't spell apple. Fairy tale. What was it? Apple. My lord, I'm die forever. What? Did I have any other favorite ones? The one that really left a big impression on me. Oh. Kami-sama kiss. I'm debating. Okay. Oh, that one's also nice, but that's my trash sekai. We won't put it there for now. No, that's still banger. Fruits basket is still banger, and then I think the last one I want to put for now, because I'm overloading this page so much, is Aura in high school. Host club. We're gonna skim this later. We're gonna skim this later. Okay. Awesome. Girl, just remember the most cookie cutter romances. Yeah, because I remember, like, I still really like the story, but like I think the darker themed stories was like sugar apple fairy is dark. It's actually fucking dark. I love it though. Signs of affection, the way they like showcases was really nice. And then the one I wanted to put that was more recent is actually the one with the flower blooms something something. I forgot the English title. That one was really nice as well. Maid-sama is nice, but I despise them for not continuing the season, so I feel like it's not enough, you know. Anyways, this is probably too much. Well, we have to probably like cut this down later on. Yeah, the flower blooms with dignity is amazingly written. That one's really nice. Like that's like one of the, like, it's been a while since I saw something so well written and so, like, how do you say it? It's not too, how do you say, fantasy and fictional. It's fictional, but like it has a touch of like reality, which I really like. Okay, 5th page. What was our 5th page? Hold on, looking at my... Oh, I just remembered what other things I did like. Hold on. In my hobbies, I forgot. There was more things I could put. Grocery shopping. Actually, I like grocery shopping a lot. And then... I like grocery shopping. Oh, damn. Yeah, this makes more sense. Deep talks. I do like deep talks. Such a hobby for me to talk about deep things for some reason. Okay. The fifth page is supposed to be like dislikes. But I don't know if I should put this. Yeah, I can put dislikes. Likes and dislikes. I love grocery shopping being included. It's such a therapeutic thing for me. I like it a lot. This is the likes part. And then this dislikes. Okay. Likes part. Likes and dislikes. I like lemonade. This is gonna be food. I like pasta. I really like pandan as well. This is like food at this point. Sour things. Psycho. Let me put the food one first. Dislikes. Spicy food. Unless it's... Wait. Unless it's Chinese or Korean spicy. Most times. Most times I like it if it's Chinese or Korean spicy. But if it's like Indo spicy, I don't like it for some reason. Let's add Thai food. I can add Thai food. Italian food. Japanese food. Thai food. Korean food. Hot pot. Why is spicy good? No, that's why I said I dislike spicy unless they're from Chinese or unless they're Chinese. Okay, so here's the thing. Oh, my debut work? Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing with me, which I'll have to re-explain this again later when I debut. So, I don't like chili. Indonesian chili. But I love Sichuan, I love mala, I love peppercorn spicy. I like Korean spicy as well, and I've figured out that I don't like raw chilies, but I like when it's like chili flakes, but I don't really like it when it's kind of like Indonesian level. So I feel like I prefer some chili, but not all. Like Chinese spice, Korean spice is nice. Thai spice is also most times I really like. But with general chili, I don't like it. I don't use chili sauce at all. I don't use Tabasco. I don't use sriracha. None of those. I hate it. I hate sriracha. I hate Tabasco. I don't like those things. But I like mala. I love mala. I love Sichuan a lot. Yeah, it's not the spice level. It's the ingredient use. I just never really found like an affinity for it. Yeah. I just never really liked the affinity of like green chili, like, you know, like the small green chili in Indonesia or like the big ass red chili. Like I would never like go out to find and eat that. But I like Korean chili flakes. Mala's too much for you? I love mala. Like literally if me and Rachie goes hot pot, we always get milky mala. We also get the green mala, which is basically just green peppercorns. It's so good. I love it. I love those a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, I can write more of my dish likes. Yeah, I don't like those. Thunder. I'm scared of thunder. I'm scared of thunder noises. But my Oshi mark is a thunder. Because it looks cool. But I'm scared of the sound a lot. I'm really scared of the sound of thunder. Sound. Oh shit. Sound of thunder. Okay, I should write it. Sound of thunder. I scare. I fear. Like the design, hate the sound. Yeah. Because I've seen a lot of trees like either burn down or like fall because of it. So I always got scared as a kid. Spiders. I'm scared. The reason why I'm scared of spiders is because when I grow up in my old house, there was a time I came back from school. I opened my door. There was a tarantula. I closed my door and then I just had to wait for my mom and dad to go home and be like, "There's a big ass spider in the room," and then like I don't like spiders. And there's many times where like I'm working on my PC and then a spider drops on my hands. You know, back in my old house, so I got really scared of spiders. There was also one time I had a trip in like primary school where we had to go to a forest and then literally there was like a gigantic ass spider web behind me and I didn't realize it, and the spider was basically almost as big as my small child head. I nearly fainted. Feels like you gotta clean up more. I do clean up. It's just that the spiders decide to pick my room instead of my brother's room because I have more stuff. I love stuff, but I always clean my stuff. And my room is warmer. And my brother basically puts his room at like an Antarctica coldness, but I like to keep my room at like has wind but not too chilly because I get cold easily. Yeah, small spiders are fine. The big ones though are crazy. Yeah, my room has more stuff to make a web house because I like cluttercore. Oh my god, I should write that. I like cluttercore. Cluttercore. Oh, rainy days before rainy days. Low blood pressure equals lethargic. What does pandan taste like? I've never had it. It's like pandan is like sweet, but it's not like earthy. I feel like pandan is like sweet in the most like, I don't know how to explain it, but yes, it's fragrant, but it's really nice. Pandan is so nice. It's so specific to Indo though. I feel like to Southeast Asia stuff. I love pandan chiffon cakes, pandan like pancakes, coconut lotion. Yeah, so like a rose kind of sweet. Not as weird as a rose, but more pleasant for sure. I'm craving pandan cake now. Yeah. Oh my god, Nessa, I didn't tell you, but actually my bakery, we actually experimented on making a pandan canal once, and we haven't actually released it formally. It was great though. Mango sticky rice? No. You know what I really like from Thai? Like Thai food in general, I like the, what's it called? The green chili curry? Yeah, the Thai green curry. That's one of the times I would actually have a chili because it's Thai. Thai green curry, my favorite. It's my favorite. Oh wait, what else do I like? Oh yeah, I like blue cheese. I like lamb too. But a lot of people don't like lamb and blue cheese apparently around me. It's funny that bread's not there. Yeah, bread is not something I search for actually. I'm more of a rice girl. Oh! Negi shiodon butadon. That's still my number one. Oh, hoikoro. I do like hoikoro a lot. Hoikoro or like twice cooked pork. Yeah. Savory or sweet? Savory. Blue cheese and a mac and cheese is life-changing. Oh, fun fact for me, I can just eat blue cheese as is. Doesn't have to be a sauce. I just love blue cheese. Blue cheese is great. I don't know. I'm just obsessed with blue cheese. But it's so expensive and harder to find here. But that explains me. Another stinky food I don't like. I don't like durian. Yuck. Yuck. I hate durian. Yuck. Bye. Ugh. No durian. And then what else do I? What do I? I forgot. Why did I write all food? I like kope. Ah! We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Okay. Okay. All right. Kopen! I love Kopen-chan! My favorite. I like Kopen-chan a lot. Oh! Forgot! I need to write! Gore! Blood. Realistic blood. I'm bad with it. Do you like coffee? I'm more of a tea person. I should write that. I love tea. I'm not exactly like the number one coffee person. It's not me. Horror jump scare is okay. The thing is, like for me, horror and jump scare is low key okay if it's not gory. Indian tea or the British one? Japanese tea, Indian tea, British tea, all types of tea, Indonesian tea. Tea is nice. I like all tea. So I don't mind horror and jump scares. The thing that always makes me feel like I can't handle it is that most of the horror games are gory. That's why I barely play any. I have chai. I have chai stock. Like I know how to make my own chai with all the like the spices and stuff. It's so nice to make at home when I feel sick. It's nice. I love chai. I always search for chai. Oh, back when I was in Japan, when I was doing university there, I had like an Indian restaurant, and I would always order chai or mango lassi. I love mango lassi. Forgot to write. I like berries. Berries. I like berries. Ray, give me 2-digit number. 13 is my favorite number. Forgot to say that 13 is my favorite number, but it's like, ha ha ha. What other dislikes do people usually say? I hate jet lag. こんばんは、れいちゃん。配信待ってたよ。ありがとう。今日はね、来年の、デビュー配信の準備をしてる。今は、好き嫌いのページでやってるんけど、だいたい英語書いてるんだけど、あとは日本語で、同時に書くと思う。Going outside? Still keep mentioning. I mean, raspberry paddock. Oh my god, raspberry paddock! This sounds nice. Dislikes. Oh. Crowds. I don't like crowds. Makes me suffocate. Oh, knives. I have a fear of knives and crowds. Theme parks? Oh, I can't really go to theme parks because sometimes I want to go to a roller coaster, but because I'm legally blind, the doctor says that if I take a roller coaster that has like a 360, my eyes could actually go blind, so I never actually went on a roller coaster. Yeah, I have bad eyes. Yeah, I have bad eyes. Yeah. I have really bad eyes. So the doctor told me that I'm not allowed to take any roller coasters because of the pressure. Because of the pressure of like going the 360 of the roller coaster might hurt my eyes. Yeah. I've had this knowledge since I was a kid when my mom found out that my eyes are like not good, like hereditary. Like it's a genetic thing that jumped 4 generations and came to me, but apparently my great-great-grandma had it. I didn't know pressure could affect them though. I know, right? But yeah, that's what happened. I can never take a roller coaster that has a 360, but I can take a roller coaster that just go like mountains. That's fine. Yippee. What a gotcha. I know, right? Okay, this should be fine though. Yeah. Okay. Decent. Decent 5th page. I got the unlucky SSR. Sounds like my life. But we try to wing it. Oh, now we're finally at the interesting page, guys. It's the my content page. Holy shit. We're at the 6th page. My content. Our spinning rides are okay. As long as it's not the oopty-loopty one. I went on the spinning cups. Spinning cups fun. Art songs cover. Yeah! Hold on. Let me grabby. Okay. Playing games I'm obsessed with. Which is basically comfy, grindy games. I feel like generally it is comfy, grindy games though. Comfy, grindy games. Drawing whatever I want. Karaoke. Song covers. Talking about life and fun stuff. While doing something else. I saw your VOD for the end of Inazuma. Your reaction to Unmo was so hype. Oh my fucking god, that was so big. I still think about it. I haven't played the extend story yet. なんかいないれのエクステンストーリーあるんだけど、まだプレイしてない。まだ心の準備がない。I don't have it yet. Absolute cinema. Is that my general content, guys? Am I missing anything? Playing games I'm obsessed with, drawing whatever I want, karaoke or song covers, talking about life and fun stuff while doing something else. You cleared story mode already? I did. Yeah. Is that it, guys? Is that most of my content? I feel like it is, right? Sounds about right. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. You know what would be funny, guys? Check this out, guys. Hold on. Check this out. I'm about to blow your minds. I'm about to blow your fucking minds. We're gonna do this. Insert stream schedule. Again, the order of all of this will be different, but like insert stream schedule. Check. Checkmate. We'll see if that works anyways. Word. Oh, I should stretch. Thank you. Oh, schedule in Indonesian is jadwal. Jadwal is schedule in Indonesian. Yahar. 6th page. Yeah, I'm just hoping I can make a schedule. I mean, I've been trying to stream at these same hours. So eventually, it might actually be a schedule, guys. Anyways, we're now gonna be at our 7th page of the slide. I just hope that I don't make like too much pages, like maybe 10 at most. Okay. Bam. This is now the... Oh, this is the fun part. You guys get to see it early. Goals. You guys get to see it early. Well, everyone else is not here today that doesn't get to see it early though, but like, you guys get to see it early. Yes, the first goal is absolutely $1 million. Checks my bank. bank account, you know? Important. Give me hit 100K on YouTube as a music channel. Hit 100K on Twitch as a silly streamer. Do a 3D concert with a full concert fit that I design. Okay, and then I have like my Delulu goals. Hold on. I have my Delulu goals. Oh wait, no, pipe dreams. There we go. We're gonna call it a pipe dream. We're gonna call it a pipe dream, chat. As if $1 million is not Delulu. Hey, I don't want to make it Delulu. Here's my pipe dreams. Shit. Hold on. Shake hands with Miyano Mamoru. Sing for Inazuma 11. Sing with Nano. Pipe dream sounds so sad. What about concert? No. It's not my dream to go in a concert with Ado. Nah, that's not my dream. What did I want to do aside that? It's pipe dream, because I don't know. Oh right. Sing for the critically acclaimed. There we go. Sing for the critically acclaimed. Oh, and live 2D child for Corpa. Alright, buddy. I already know what that means. Live 2D child for Corpa. I hope I get that one day. Lamau. Hee. Oh wait. Oh right. I forgot the other goals thingy. Release a full album of originals and with a thick art book. There we go. I think these are nice goals. Okay, oh my god, guys, look, guys, we're going so fast. We're already at our 7th page. Now, we continue. Enter an art piece to a museum. Nah, I don't really need to be in a museum. With how some museums can be kind of fucked these days, I'd rather be in an exhibition instead of a museum, because you know what museum do? Steal. Ha ha ha. Looking at a specific museum in the world that stole something from another country. Winks, you know, haha. You know who you are, museum. I don't want to be in a museum. This is the fun part. Trivia! Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you my trivia, but you have to promise me that on the day of the debut, you have to be like, oh, shocking! I didn't know that about Ray. Okay, at least the ones here. Okay, because I'm assuming that I will meet new people that day, but the people who already know me, you have to act surprised. You guys have to act surprised. Okay. Trivia. Love language. Quality time. This is my love language. It's quality time. So if I spend time with you guys, that's my love language. That's why I like meeting with people when I can. I like talking to people because quality time is my love language. Nothing else, nothing more. Like nothing less, nothing more, you know? That's my love language. Wait, you know what? Yeah. Simple and sweet. And then the way I talk is different from. Wait. The way I talk gives people whiplash when I sing. Apparently, this is the case because I talk like a silly person, but I am silly. Then I lock in when I sing. I lock in when I sing. It is what it is, though. Not a lot of people know that, though. I think Pharaoh had a whiplash when he heard how I sing. Get 2 modes. I know! Speaking of modes, I could actually give you guys a preview of my shorts cover that I'm having mixed this month. Because I only have budget for a short, but like I could give you guys my raw version. You guys could hear it because there's one part that won't be included into the shorts because it's hard to upload shorts above 1 minute. Like it can fail, so it's like limited. Oh, graduated fine arts uni in Japan. I'm a fine arts major and I have a proper bachelor's degree from it. 全部日本語で、は、は、は。Oh, funny one. Co-owner of a bakery. That's why I like the bakery stuff I wanted to put here. Co-owner of a bakery. Ollie's personal assistant. Ollie's personal assistant. Hee. And then I think Ollie said she put her. No, this is a jaw-dropping one. It's so funny though. Bugoo. And then she... Hashtag. Apparently I can put hashtag here. Which is just Ray Levere. Like general is just Ray Levere. And then I couldn't think of a better tag, but I don't know if I should make like a meme thing again. I have my old tag. What? I have my like meme tag, but I feel like I don't like it anymore. So I feel like I should change it because no one uses it anyways. So I'll figure it out with you guys later. On another day, I'll be like, what tag should we put, guys? General. Fan art. Oh yeah, wait, I forgot to community name. Regulars. And then we have a community mascot. Community mascot. Roger D. Dodger. Shiba Inu. Could actually not gay. Would it be funnier to be like actually straight? Like actually I'm straight. Straight as hell. Straight as hell. Straight as hell. Wait, straight as hell, but loves women. Oh my god, there's. But loves women. Yeah, that sounds good. And then the last thing I have to do is the credits page. So I'll only do a bit of those because I can't spoil you guys everything yet. Straightest woman lover. So it's spaghetti. I tried. I really tried looking deep inside to myself and I really could not see anything. Damn, I didn't know Dodger's from the Pirate King family. It's funny, right? Ninth page. Okay, and then the last page is credits. Which I think I can put some in. Like thrown in Discord? I don't think I should put that in the debut slides. It doesn't feel like something I would do. Model live 2D model art. Me, myself, and I, Ray Lavere. Live 2D rigger. Should I do live 2D Papa? Is it Papa? Yeah, live 2D Papa. Jacob Hallows. That one weird. That's for sure. And the ones later is opening BGM. If it changes. Room. Mama model. Oh yeah, I could just say model mama. Model mama. Model papa. Oh, come in. Opening BGM and ending room. Ending BGM. Opening graphics. If I have a new one. I don't know if I'll have a new one by then, but we'll see. Usually. Alerts. Overlays. Sub. Emotes. Hello. General BGM. Maybe if I have a general BGM, we'll see. Is that it? Oh! Special thanks. Special thanks is definitely... I feel like I have to put like NBC. I have to add more of these eventually. We'll add the special thanks as we go. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that should be the general. That's like 9 pages. So I have a free page. I have a free page to do whatever I want. Oh, I forgot. No, I don't think my... Oh, yeah. One more page. Put Rickroll there. I feel like this is credits too of like if either original song / cover song. Fan name and hashtag? Yeah, your fan name is regulars. Hashtag is... I haven't made like a... Oh wait, did I make a... I only have this one so far. Like, it's usually community name regulars or like blah regulars. Yeah, I think generally this should be enough. But I'll think about it more when like we figure it out. Once we figure out more things. So let me go save this. Yes, that should be good. Yeah. Oh right, I forgot. The last page Either it's credits 2 or I put it here, or it's basically somewhere in the middle of the what's it called? In the middle of the slides. I'm supposed to do model close up. Yeah. I haven't decided. It's probably model close up. Say I put like reference sheet, zoom into model, like details, you know? Like that's something I forgot I need to do. Details, etc. Yeah, I'll put this somewhere in the middle. Okay, let me. There we go. Yeah, something like that. And that should be the entire thing. But yeah, it's one of, I'll probably put the credits more in like the credit page, and then this is just model close up. So at least we now have the information. It took us 2 hours just to make the information, and I haven't even made the graphics. I haven't made the graphics, guys. I don't know if I should commission or I should probably make it with you guys, and we'll just all suffer together. Yay! Anyways, as a reward, I shall show you the raw audio of one of the covers that I will make into a short, but you have to watch the shorts version later on because it'll get properly mixed. So all you're gonna hear is just my raw audio. Hold on. I need to figure out where to put this music thingy. Properties. Reaper. Let me pause the thing. You guys are probably gonna be... Hold on, let me double check if it's like on or not. Okay. You guys get to hear... Do you want to hear from the beginning, like before my vocals start? Because like the music is nicer that way. Well, actually, no, I'll just put it from the vocal because there's nothing in the front. So I'll just put it from here. You know what? Yeah, I'll put it from here. Are you guys ready? No Clippy. No Clippy. You know why no Clippy? It will be gone. This audio file will be gone in the BOD. So this is, you can only hear this once. Once and once only. Ha! Okay, I give it now. Yeah. Yep, that's the preview. That's the preview. It's not mixed at all though. Haha. Hee. Puts back music. まだミックスしてないからね。It's just raw takes. Yeah, but basically you guys will only hear from the middle part, which is the いい成績でしょ because the front part doesn't fit. So unless we get a lot of like people to be like full cover please, like if a lot of people ask for it, then I'll do it eventually, because I haven't learned the entire song. Sorry, I didn't hear. Can you play the whole song? Never. Ha ha ha. But yeah, there's a lot. That's like one. There's another one that I have like, but that one is a secret. So yeah, ha ha ha. Har har har. I had to make a bunch of accounts to request. I mean, what? But yeah, the reason why I never covered that song until now is because I never know what to channel in that song. And I feel like now I kind of have an idea on what to channel on it. That's why it ended up the way it is. Haha. Fun times. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but it's fun. Yeah. Emotion-wise, not emotion, not just emotion. More of like my interpretation of it. My interpretation of the song. Because some people do it like very like differently. And I feel like with me, it's kind of like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. I feel like I'm challenging it for some reason. Lamo. But yeah, okay. So, we're only done with one part, guys. We're only done with one part, guys. You know why? We're now going to our next segment that you probably didn't think. We need more. We have another segment, which is basically either we switch to just chatting and then we basically look at 7TV together, because I want to add more things to 7TV before we go into the debut. Basically, like either I write things like, okay, we need to make this like a different part of the stream, like we need to draw this and make things for it, or we find things in 7TV, or I draw emotes. We can start sketching emotes. So it's either I draw emotes, either I do 7TV, or either I start cooking up background and basically the song cover sketch. So there's three things: song cover sketch, emotes for next year, or we browse 7TV. Yeah, I think I want to make new emotes. New emotes, let's go. Okay, if it's new emotes, then I need to set things up. Hold on, I need to move my saving up for subs. Aw, thank you. Sadly, I can't make subs cheaper. So it's a little bit sad. But apparently, if I become Twitch partner one day, followers would get more emote slots, or you download 7TV so everyone can use emotes from 7TV. But it's more like I don't know which one to separate, you know? Yeah, I don't know how to separate like what I should put in 7TV and what I should put as a sub, if that makes sense. 6 months is cheaper than monthly. Oh, okay. Let me just. Failed to download. Well, hold on. I think this is a little bit too. Oh, you know what? Let's not use that. Let's use this. Let's use this instead. I don't like 7TV personally because it doesn't work on mobile. Well, that means you need to watch me on non-mobile. Checkmate. Checkmate, you know, sorry. I just like the word checkmate a lot. It's so fun. It's so funny. Hold on, let me... That's not an eclipse. I'm supposed to make a... it's not. Okay. Let me get the drawing guide. What do you mean it's not online? Assist. Drawing assist. There we go. Okay, I just have to make these squares. I only have my phones. Man. That's unfortunate. I should have never said checkmate that. I'm so sorry. Sobs. Love truth nuke from you girls. That's because of Rachie. It's because of Rachie. Rachie literally made me obsessed with the hashtag truth nuke. It's Rachie thing. She's so funny. I love Rachie. I even asked advice from Rachie. Oh my god, wait, I can actually talk to you guys about it. But I don't know if you guys would even know about it. Chat, would you like me to confide in you? Or not? Because I feel like we'd be like, sorry Ray, I can't help you there because I'm also as shy as you, you know? Kind of thing. So I'm kind of like, do I ask you guys about said thing? Or do I not ask you guys, you know? Sure. I mean, we can try. Okay. Worth a shot, suppose. Okay. All right, chat. Hear me out. How do you strike a conversation with someone you've been mutuals with for maybe 2 years, or maybe someone you've been mutuals with for 2 months, that you want to be like, hey, you are an interesting person. I'd like to know you better. Kind of talk. Send memes. But basically, this is why it was hard to ask you. Just take your shot. What do I say without any... Like, the thing is, I don't know. Yeah, shared... See, okay. Hear me out, chat. How do you find shared interest with someone? Like, I think it's easier for me to find shared interest when it's with artists or singers. But if it's with someone who's like a full-on comedian or like just like a streamer, it's so hard for me. Stalk their socials? I mean, I do to some extent stalk. Well, not stalk, but like try to explore the socials. But and then I realize hold on, I'm gonna put you guys up here. And then I realized, wait, never mind, I shouldn't put you guys there. And I realized that I don't really like have any common interest with them, but I just find them funny. So the only thing I can basically say to them is like, ha, you're funny. But that's it. Like, I don't really have anything else to say. But you're mutuals though? Yeah. And that happens though. Sometimes you can be mutuals with someone even though like you have no common interest. But like to strike a conversation, you kind of have to have a common interest, right? Because sometimes, okay, here's the thing, guys. Sometimes I get followed back by people that I don't even know why they follow me. You know? That kind of thing. You know that kind of thing. No common interest just makes it super. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I have. Okay, you know what? Here's the easiest one because like I don't know if she knows, but I talked about it with Richie. I think I don't have a lot of common interests or anything that's kind of like, oh, I really like this and this person really likes this, and that person is Michimo Chibi. Because I feel like the things I like in comparison with Michi are like 2 different worlds. It's 2 different worlds. But I always find her funny. but I don't have exactly like I don't think I have a common interest with Michi that I feel like it's something that resonates with me super hardly or something that she resonates super hardly because I don't know. And the things she says, tweets are more like American than me. But in a sense, she's more Indonesian than me because she knows more about Indonesia. So I'm like, sometimes I don't know how to strike a conversation with the girl. That's why sometimes I am a little bit awkward because I'm like, I don't know where to bounce off. With Ollie, it's so easy. With Ollie, it's so easy because Ollie loves a lot of the things I like. Be it food things we enjoyed together, personality types, and stuff like that. So it's with Kana is the same. Her silliness was one thing, but we have a lot of things that we like in common. That's why it's like, for me, I feel like the one that I still struggle with talking with because I don't know if I have like a really big like common interest with is probably Michi or Muna. Muna a little bit more easier to talk with because I feel like we can talk about like any household stuff. I would talk about household stuffs or like anything like about her life or like, oh yeah, did you get this bottle? Like this bottle's great, you know, kind of thing. Or we talk like, have you gotten this? This will save your life, kind of thing. So I like household stuff. I can talk with like Kana and Muna because they love like shopping for furniture and stuff like that. So it's like something like, okay, guys, I found this on Shopee. It's great, you know. With Michi though, I haven't really found that middle ground because I've only met the girl like 4 or 5 times, but I haven't really had like a long talk with her. Because that's how I usually learn about someone is when someone yaps about themselves or I talk about things with them at like a personal level, you know. But with Michi, I haven't done that because girl is busy and she has her own friend group. So it's kind of like hard. You both like clothes could start there. Playing games together is another strat. If talking fails, you try vibing together for a good time, and with any luck through exposure, you can strike a pay dirt. What strike pay dirt through random yaps? Pay dirt? Pay dirt? Wait, guys. What do people need? It's like hi, right? How would I say hi? I mean, I would wave. I really like the funny wide hi. Yo, what's up? I feel like I could talk about clothes with Michi. You're right. I'll try talking about clothes with Michi. I love it too. It's so goofy. It's like, hi Jen. I can't wait to like update it with my new model. It'll be really funny. Like, hi Jen. Okay, let's just make like a. We'll just make a silly like face. But yeah, striking convo hard. Wait, am I at the correct way? I am. By the way, strike pay dirt equals good outcome. Oh, I learned English. I learned English. Is that a good face, guys? Wait, I need to put my model ref. Cute. Hold on, guys. I need to put my model ref because I forgot my face. Because I don't look at my face every day. I forgot my face. Give me a moment. I forgot what my face looks like. My new face. Okay. I have my reference right here. Hold on. Need to move the reference up here. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Aha. There we go. Wow, this stream forgot her face. Yeah, because it's new and I haven't used it. Look at her. Oh my god. Okay, I think smaller. Face for gore. Yes, I for gore face. There, you guys get to see the face. Like, I can't imagine it moving at all right now. I really can't imagine it moving, and I'm so excited to see how it moves later on. Oh, I don't know, guys. I'm so excited because it's the first time I'm not rigging in a long while. Hmm. Yay! Can you make this one animated? Just the hand? Yeah. I'll make the hand animated. I can even make frames with it, so... Wait. Actually, I can do it right... I think I can do it right now. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Let me cook. Give me a moment. I can, like, do a very slight animation with it. Hold on. I can just do a rough one. I think that was a setting for it. Yeah, there was a thingy for it. Honestly, I can just copy this. It's like that, probably. And then if you were to duplicate it, it would be like... It would just be the hand moving like that! Yeah, it'll just be like that. That's amazing. Yeah, you just have to move that one hand. We'll fix the hand a little bit. With the borders and stuff. Left, what you expect. Right, what you get. Hi, Dad. So we can keep it as an animation. So we can just like but yeah. Now we can, so at least we have high. Let's turn off animation off for now. And then we can put that this is 1, 2, 3 group. This is hi. Forgot to put glasses. Hold on. There we go. Wait, hold on. Let's make the clothing. There we go. And then all you have to do is just there we go. Hi. Yeah. That's one high. Should I update the vibe thing? The vibe, the jam one is so nice. That was, I think I live 2D animated that. Point and laugh one also. I can do that. Oh, we could do buy. Oh, we could do buy. You're right. Hold on. Just so the size is the same. We can do buy as well. Hold on. Do normal laughing one? Okay, I'll do it laugh. Okay. Hold on. There we go. Bye, chat. Bye, chat. Bye, chat. So sad. Bye, chat. Yeah. Wait, okay. Real question. Do you want a small, like, okay. It'll be really small, right? It'll be like somewhere like here. It'll be really small. But do you want it to be like a small, like this? Or like, should it be like a big, like, or should it be like a small, you know? Small? Okay. Since it's gonna be small, I think Biff. Oh, yeah, because it's small. Maybe it might be better if like it is bigger. Cause like chat wise, it would be like, look, guys, it'll be like this small here. I can't see anything. Okay, we'll figure out if you want like the bigger mouth or not. Let me just make it like this for now. Medium? Okay, hold on. That's medium, I think. Yeah, we'll figure this out later. Cause we can also like super zoom in, you know? Like right now it's like the body is really showing, but if I wanted to, we could do like where it's just mostly the face. So we can do that later as well. Alright, how are you? Yeah, I have to drop it for now. All good. Thank you so much. I'll probably like end at like 11:30 today. because I have to wake up very early tomorrow. Okay. Laugh, huh? Yeah. I have to wake up at 5, I think. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. What? what? What is that? Keck W? Oh my god. That's an entire thing. Hmm. I wonder how do I make that? It's like this, right? How do I draw a point? How's Kana doing? Hmm. She's hyper focused. Oh, it's that way. Kana's the type of person that can't multitask. Kana can't multitask at all. So until she feels like the bakery can like she doesn't have to watch the bakery, then she'll come back to streaming. But also, you know, it's the usual like people are waiting for me. They're just so nice. You know, the whole spectrum like, "Oh, that's just cuz people are nice." And I'm like, about to strangle this girl. Hi, Ray. Salutations from the office. Welcome in. That's Kana, you know. She's always. She doesn't believe that she's really good at the things that she does. Pisses me off sometimes, like, girl. Can I stay long? Sadly, it's okay. I think I'm also gonna be done in half an hour. Because I have to, like, wake up early tomorrow. Bye bye, Moy. Thank you so much for dropping by. She thinks we're nice for. Yeah. She really thinks we're nice for no reason. And I'm like, girl. Like, I think at this point, I don't think she trusts me to say that people like her because of her. So maybe one day, chat. Maybe one day she'll get it. At this point, I think I'm just like a walking broken record, so I don't think she would actually listen to me. It has to be from you guys, I guess. I don't think I can do much about it anymore. I feel like it's more of like. At the end, it's from her. I feel. But me don't know. I've been trying to like put that entire like mindset in her brain for an entire year plus. It's tough out here. Yeah, long fight. It's just that she's not like even online. But at least she's doing better ish because she's posting Twitter and I'm like, girl, just post. Thank God she's posting. I miss your banter between you two. Yeah. Some people just refuse to realize how much people like them. I miss hearing your voice. Yeah. You should all spam. Oh. You should spam her. You know, you guys, I think you should just spam her, like at her on her. What I don't know, just like try to like gain attention from her. Discord, whatever. Twitter, like when she's there, like literally. I think it's time to be like, anytime Kana posts, do a Kana, I miss you. When are you streaming? Like, be that annoying person and be like, Kana, I miss you. When are you streaming? Kana, I miss you. When are you streaming? You know? Then she'll give up to peer pressure. Peer pressure. Because, yes. Hmm? Did it die? There we go. DDoS her with pressure? Yeah. Yeah. Guilt. Well, it's not guilt tripping someone out of their job. Your job is not about. You're not saying, hey, you should stop doing the bakery and stream. No. You just have to say, hey, Kana, I miss you. When are you streaming? You know? So that she believes that people are waiting for her because she thinks no one's waiting for her. You know how fucked up that is? Did I finish my pen nib already? I have to change my pen nib soon. My pen nib is like dying. Did I? Oh my god, I did. The pen nib is dying. Okay, I've done these 3. Aha. All good. Hold on, I need to find my pen nib. Let's see if I have my pen nib. Where did I put my pen nibs? I think I put it somewhere close to my table, but I forgot. Hold on. Damn, I don't remember where I put my pen nib. I need to find it tomorrow. It's starting to die. Yeah. Hi, Jojo. We're doing good. Wait, what else, guys? Hi, chat. Bye, chat. Haha. What else? Oh, cheer! Light sticks. But should I feel like it should be doggy. Wait, do you guys want me doing the light stick cheer, or do you want the doggy instead? I like doggy might be cute. Oh my god, this thing is really broken! Ah, my pen nib! I've worked it to the bone too hard. Left and right. Doggy works better. Okay. I'll use the same like angle. That's too long. That's too long though. Waste of space for me. Light stick color, like just putting light sticks is not enough. Cause like the thing is, it's not YouTube. I can animate it. Ha ha ha. Sucks to be on YouTube. You can't animate jack shit. Ha ha ha. It's so funny. It's so fucking funny. Okay, now how do I make this into a dog? Oh my god. Wait, okay, real talk. Humans would use two hands, but I imagine if it's a dog, wouldn't it just be like and then like his head would be like headbanging? Wouldn't it be headbanging instead? Wouldn't the dog be headbanging? Puppy, hi puppy. Wait, headbanging dog. Okay, hold on. Let's make the hold. I feel like we okay. What if okay, this. Hold on. We'll have to figure out how to make this like cute. Hmm. 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 Wait, I'm cooking. This is a good dog face. Hold on, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. Good dog face. Good dog face. Hold on, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. Good dog face. Good dog face. Like here. Okay. Okay. We have the vision. We have the vision. Now the issue is I need to make this dog headbang. How do I make this dog headbang? Okay, hold on. So, let's use the animation slides just to figure out. Animation assist, okay. If that's the initial one. Okay, I have to draw lower angle. So, lower angle. So, it should be here. Wait. If it goes down, then the angle would be like slowly. Okay. Okay, if mouth is here, then I feel like I know usually it would just be like down, but I feel like if it has an angle, it has an angle. I'm gonna angle it down. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I need to make like one more version. Hold on. Okay. Okay. It's like slightly tilted is okay. Just ever so slightly tilted. Hmm. Hold on. Oh no, it's opposite. It should be this. This one is mm. Oh, let's give it a white background just so that it's more clear. Oh wait, I should make like a hmm. Okay, hold on. Let me try this. Too much. Hold on. That's too fast! Wait! Hmm. I think I need to add like 2 more frames. Should I keep the eyes open? No, actually. Maybe animate it on 3. This is 3. Hold on. Oh, wait. No, I forgot. It's because it's not going up and down. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold. Up. And then you copy this. Okay. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Hold on, hold. Hold. There we go. We missed the frame. We missed the frame. Ah! You guys see anything? You guys didn't see anything. No, no, it wasn't me calling. It was my friends. It was my friends. We have a group chat that is basically Genshin or Wuwa Help Center. Don't worry about it. But enough of that. Look, the dog is dogging. Hold on. The dog is dogging, guys. Yay! Wait. Maybe I should draw the eyes open. Hold on. Maybe 2 frames then? Hmm. No, it shouldn't be there. What the dog doing? The dog is cheering. Doing his best. Look at him. Hold on. I forgot I haven't drawn his maybe I should draw it open. Hold on. This. I thought that. No, it's not. No, no, no. It's not smoke. Hold on. Uh. No, no, it's not smoke. Hold on. It's not smoke. I swear to God, it's not smoke. Uh. Just or the 5 times as fast with a cheer. Wait, hold on. 5 times as fast. How fast? Like this? Wait, actually, this is so funny. This is cute though. Faster? Wait, how fast do you guys want it? This one? Wait, should the cheer just be this? This is a really more faster? More? This is the max I can do. He's so big. Oh my god. Wait, I kind of want to, hold on. I want to make this like the end screen thing. It's like, thanks for coming, chat. Like, at the like, thanks for coming, chat. This is what we did today. Pose. Hold on. Let me just put a... There we go. This is great. Wait. Okay. Okay, at least we figured out the dog. Hold on. Now I need to check something else. Hold on. Oh, I can't put it there. Oh, I accidentally drew another layer of the face. This is Jover. Well, this is great. I think the dog is peak though. Hold on. I truly think the dog is peak. I think if I made like, hold on, oh yeah, if I do that, it makes it slower. If I put 2 frames, it makes it slower, so I shouldn't do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is better. It's still funnier. You want the cheer just to be this? It'll be really funny if the cheer is just this, you know? Like, you really can't see anything. Side may disappear. Can we dual? How do you dual wield? Wait, dual wield? Oh, okay. I see your vision. Hold on. I see your vision. I don't know if I can do it. Hold on. Like you want me to like dual wield like I flipped the wrong way. Hold on. Would it be really silly if I did this? Hold on. Hold on. Let me make a really bootleg version of this. Hold on. I'll just make a really bootleg version of this. Alright. Are we okay, guys? Are we dual wielding or are we single wielding? Do you want the dog to be dual wielding or not? Faster? It's already at max. It's already at max. I can't make him faster. Hold on. Get rid of this girl. Slow and single. Dual but slow. Single but fast. Okay, if it's slow. Oh yeah, this pace is cute. I think the dual wielding one at this pace is cute, and then the single wield one should be the fastest one. Yeah, you guys are right. Look at that. Can you do one with him being on a light stick towards the sky and whip? Huh? Him biting the light stick toward the sky and waving left to, like basically this? Like this way? Or like this way? Like this? I'm trying to figure out the movement. Is it like this, you mean? Like that? Or do you want me to be like... Should I helicopter the guy? Ooh. Should I helicopter the dog? I think just... Oh, or is it like this? Like, just like one light stick in the middle. I don't know. Or just... Is it like this? Like that? Trying to figure it out. My head is dizzy now. Anyways, I should end stream soon. We'll talk about this more, guys. We'll talk about this more. I think we've done great tasks, great jobs today. And I think my art style kind of like stabilized for... Where's the buy one? What am I buying? Yeah, great progress, guys. The light stick one. Oh no, the dog. Anyways. Yeah, if you at least managed to catch a little bit, I'll take it. Yeah! Thank you everyone for coming today. 見てくれてありがとうございました. I see we, but it's really just you. Yeah, but it's okay. Fun. Okay. Let me see who I can raid. I feel like we should continue this soon. I really like just yapping and just drawing silly things with you guys. Who do I raid? Ba, 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 ba. Thank you for the stream. You're welcome. I just have to find someone to raid now. We made so much progress for debut. Wait, I can go raid Hime. Hime is drawing. I think she's animating as well. We can go to Hime. I'm gonna go raid Hime. Thank you guys for coming. I'm gonna go rest super early now. We managed to do more than one page. Yeah! I'm gonna upload a dog soon on Twitter. But yeah, thank you so much for the short stream. I will see you guys maybe tomorrow if I'm not dead, but if not tomorrow, then Thursday. Bye, guys. またね. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.